Yo, what's up? It's easy. This is just a quick quarter stars video guide showing how we go ahead do our pulls. Little few tips and tricks, a few skips here and there which you may not know about. So first off, two people click on the lantern and then get on the mammoth mount, so the rogue and the holy paladin in our case, and we get teleported down to the bottom. You probably know this one, but what you may not know is you can then swap blast the people on the boat and they get instantly teleported to the beginning of the actual instance, past all this RP, and they can start killing the mob before even the dungeon's really started at all. The time is on like 10 seconds or so, and as you see, so we get to this side, mob's already dead, and we're 50 seconds in already. So here we kill the sentry and we kill the worm. What's is bolstering? Okay. So yeah, we make sure we kill the sentry first, obviously, because it's going to go bang on the pillar and summon some dude. I don't even know what it does. You kill the sentry first, stop it from summoning anything, and then we turn the pillar off because nowadays the boss was changed recently. So when he summons, they cast like a hindrance spell, and that stuns you instead of slows you now. So that's devastating. If you get stunned in a mechanic, you die at this difficulty anyway. You're just straight up dead. So this mob here, nothing special. The constructs, they cast a heal and a suppress. So this suppressed here, you can interrupt with things like the bombs or dragon's breath or whatever like that. But the other ability heals all the mobs around it. So you don't need to interrupt it if you pull them alone, because it doesn't heal him, it just heals everything around it. These pulls on bolstering can be quite nasty. You have to just focus the guard. If you saw, like, I tried to frost over it, but I didn't communicate that very well, and so that didn't work out. But all you have to do is you single target down. You focus the priority target, and then kill all the worms afterwards. So the next pack contains 2 sentries, a cat, and a Duskwatch guard. So all we do is we burn the sentries fast, so obviously they don't summon more guys by sounding the alarm there. And then we kill the saber, the cat, while being spread out, because when it leaps it does a cleave, and everyone hit by the cleave gets a nasty dot, which can be dispelled, but just spreading out makes that super easy to deal with. While the Duskwatcher doesn't really do much. He does like a cleave in front. Well, it's just a big animation, very easy to avoid. This quelling strike here, you see it, a cone, and then he puts up a fortification buff, which reduces damage taken and increases haste by 25%, I believe, which can be spell stolen and dispelled. So we got the orb, so we were quite lucky. The orb is engineer only ability, which is active in the room just behind this bridge here on the left. And what it does is it turns off all the constructs, and more importantly, turns them into neutral monsters, meaning they don't bolster the aggressive monsters. So you see here the construct has a yellow health bar, a yellow nameplate, while the aggressive monsters have red nameplates, meaning they will not bolster each other, which is great for mass pulling and being able to, as you'll see, pull the boss on top of the construct and cleave them down at the same time. So with this boss, it's very important to have an alchemist in Court of Stars. Every time you do Court of Stars, you should have an alchemist, because there is a alchemy flask on the table just behind this boss where he stood now, which when he gets to, I believe, 25% health, he drinks the flask and instantly kills himself because you've poisoned it. So you essentially shave off 25% of his maximum HP, which is obviously increased every time you go up a level in Mythic Plus. So the boss has 3 main abilities: a double cone, telegraph, 1 cone in front, 1 cone behind him, which you can simply stand at his sides and avoid. A line nuke cone, which comes out of a little ball he spawns, also telegraphed, so very easily avoided. And a dot ability, which adds 3 stacks of the dot, and you have to jump 3 times to remove them, and they do increasing damage and eventually will kill you. You can, of course, dispel these, freedom these, or block them off, bubble, etc. So yeah, we pull the construct on top of the boss and cleave it down because they're just 3% now, especially with the orb. You couldn't do that without the orb, obviously. because one, it would bolster it. Two, it would be healing the boss. It's extra damage. You know, don't do, only when you have the orb. You know, we're just saving a bit of time. Yeah, so this pack's a bit of a bitch on bolstering because you have to focus that, you know, you can't really AoE these. You just have to AoE interrupt all the imps and focus, you know, the big guy, the watchful Inquisitor. Otherwise, you know, he gets buffed and he casts like an ice storm thing, which you have to stun. Otherwise, it just rapes your whole team. So here we cleave these two mobs down first, and then we pull the impacts for, you know, for that exact reason. We don't want to bolster the two mobs at the same time as all the imps. Like, we want to AoE and kill them all at roughly the same time, but because the mobs have more health than the imps, we want to, you know, kind of stagger when we pull them. So the enforcers as well. So the main thing that you can do is just completely ignore. We're not doing it in this video because we overgear it so much, but this cast here, which is leaving the green dot, you can loss it. So, you know, this is why we kind of, the tank pulls it next to the pillar, so, or next to a wall or some right angle where we can just dodge in and out to, you know, to avoid taking that damage altogether. However, we have so much gear at this point, we completely ignore it. So once you kill the first enforcer, you have to deal with the first boss mob, which this demon only does this whirling blade. All she does, you just have to run away. There's a little telegraph circle on the floor, and you just simply have to run away every time, otherwise it's tank and spank. So now we start looking for the other enforcers. You see on the map the little yellow dot right at the top there. Because, you know, obviously you need to pull the enforcer to summon the boss, and you need to get rid of all the bosses before you can actually, all the mini bosses before you can fight the boss. So here we have the crit orb as well, which is very nice, and we decide, you know, we'll double pull it because there's no construct, so we don't have to worry about you know, any healing. So there's, you know, it's a simple pack. I do cauterize in this pack. I wasn't watching why, probably because we're shit. But we we just stand here and kill the construct. So we kill the enforcer, we pull it into this corner because, you know, there's the imps running around, there's a patrol. So we pull it here to obviously avoid all that, so we don't have to pull it. And again, you know, we're ignoring the cast, the detonation, because our Holy Paladin is really good. Alright, then the Watcher. So he casts like a channel and this beam here, and you do reduced damage. Like, it stacks up to 3 times, and you do reduced damage when it gets to max stacks, and it can go on you like more than once in a row. So you'll see, yeah, so the rogue now has like 6 buffs or whatever, 6 debuffs, so he's doing like, I don't know, 60% less damage or whatever it is. Which is why, you know, you can see on the damage meter, his damage is terrible for this mob. But you can immune it away, ice block it off, bubble it, you know, whatever, all that kind of shit. So impact again, exactly the same deal. We focus all of them at the same time so they don't bolster. Use our Belf silencers to stop them from casting, Dragon's Breath, engineering grenades, anything that will AoE interrupt them, since we don't have an AoE stun. So yeah, what we did, we had the you know, the injured guy on the floor in the corner, you know, on that map there in the top left, and our healer gone and resurrected him, and he runs off and is very ungrateful and summons this guy. And all you have to do is move out of the frontal cone, as it does stun, but it is 100% avoidable. So the second boss is really easy. All you have to do is stand under the boss, you know, have all your ranged standing close to the boss for the imp spawn. So this first cast, Burning Intensity, is a buff on him, which just increases AoE damage, you know, unavoidable AoE damage for the whole group. And then that Infernal Eruption summons all these imps, which, you know, then you move out and you AoE them down. So you want to group up on top of each other so they're nice and clumped at first, and use all your AoE interrupts, your Belf silences, bombs, you know, everything that is going to interrupt in an AoE. And again, you know, every Infernal Eruption like this, everyone goes in. We have a mass grip, get them all stacked up a bit better out of the fire. Oh yeah, I use Dragon's Breath here to interrupt. Maybe after this. Yeah, there we go. And then, we're just burning the boss at the same time. So all you really need to do is make sure you kick the Withered Soul, that cost there, and stack for the Inferno Eruption, and be able to deal with the AoE ramp up damage from the dot on the boss. Otherwise, that's really it. So once you found all the clues, inside you find the guy. You fight, they walk up here and you fight this demon. All the demon does is a frontal cone, which you just have the tank angle away from. This carrion swarm has to be away from the group. Everyone stand behind it. Cast a cripple, which can be dispelled. So magic debuff can be dispelled by a healer. Or a freedom from a paladin, a red paladin. Maybe a shapeshift from a druid as well. Not 100% sure. And a shadow bolt volley, which does unavoidable AoE damage to the entire group, which just needs to be healed up. Use some personals, and obviously for fixes like raging, whatever, try to get him to cast the volley, then push him below 30%, and then kill him. So the last boss has 4 main abilities. First one being Blade Surge, which charges to a player's location and leaves behind a shadow of himself or a mirror of himself, which pulses for AoE damage. So you see here the Blade Surge, we place it in the corner here. And they also activate these lines, these shadowy lines on the ground, which if you stand in them while they're going off, they do lots of damage, as you'll see a bit later. Once the Slicing Maelstrom comes in here, the ads also start to pulse. And so each one of them does a Maelstrom for unavoidable damage, which you essentially need to kill the boss before this damage ramps up too high, so you have too many of these shadows out, these replicas. And that's really it. I mean, the only thing you really have to be careful of is the healing requirement and not taking the boss super far away with the Blade Surges. So this one was in melee, so that's fine. But the next one, because I'm too far out, because I get hit by this shadow charge here after the blink, I'm too far away. So the charge comes, the surge goes all the way to me. It's out of range of melee. You see the Holy Paladin having to move instead of losing DPS time. So the only 3 things you really need to do is keep up with the healing requirement, avoid the Blade Surges, and don't stand in these shadowy lines here. There are tornadoes in the room, but they're incredibly easy to. You can see these circles; they're very easy to dodge as they don't really move, and they do a big chunk of damage, and they CC you for, I think they stun you for about 2 seconds or so. But otherwise they don't do anything, so you can ignore them, just don't stand in them. This is the first video in a series, hopefully, of all the dungeons guide and run throughs. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, do all that shit that YouTubers do, and I'll see you next time.